Good afternoon, Speak New Lifers, and welcome back to another vlog. We are doing a walk and talk, sitting down by this pine tree. I believe today is the 25th of June, 2025. So 25/6/25, and we are just appreciating another sunny day over here in London. And I just wanted to come on here. You know, my desire is always to encourage you lot to see the goodness of God in everything, wherever you are, whatever you're experiencing, right? Just to remember his goodness and to keep on proclaiming his goodness wherever you go. So as I was waking up this morning, I just had this thought about how God knows everything, even the hidden things, right? He knows absolutely everything. He knows everything about creation. He knows everything down to the pine needles on this tree, right? God is fully aware of every pine needle. Why? Because he had to create the pine needle in order for it to be a pine needle, in order for it to be on this tree. And from the very beginning, from when he made the very first pine tree, he knew that this tree was going to exist and it was going to need its pine needles, right? So he made it way then, put it into the seed, and then create it, etc. So there is nothing that our God doesn't know, right? There's nothing that our God is not aware of. And I got to thinking about this morning. I was thinking, like, sometimes it can feel as though we don't know what we're doing. It can feel as though that God almost doesn't know what's happening, because life just feels like it's a bit of a turmoil. It's a little bit confusing, like, why are we doing this? What is going on? And I was just reminded of the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt, right? And God led them down to the Red Sea, right? And it says, I believe in Exodus 14, that he purposely led them that way. He purposely led them that way because he said that Pharaoh would think, when he saw them, that he would think that they were trapped, right? Because he said, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. And he said he's going to think that the Israelites are trapped and he's going to go after them. And so they had the Red Sea in front of them. They had mountains on both sides of them, and they had Pharaoh's army behind them, right? And they were terrified. So when they saw all of that, when they saw the dust ball of Pharaoh come in, you know, kicking up dust all over the place and whatever, they started to go into panic mode, right, and fear, and started to say to Moses, why have you brought us out here? Were there not enough graves in Egypt? We could have died over there, etc., etc. You could have left us. We would have been better off as slaves, blah, 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 blah. All of that drama, right? However, God, right, he said to Moses, he said, what are you crying to me for? Like, what's in your hand? Use what's in your hand. And then through that process of Moses using his hand and commanding, sticking it out over the water split. Children of Israel went across. But this was the most amazing thing to me. I remember when I was in Barbados, right? I was in Barbados, and I went on one of their attractions. It's called the Atlantis submarine, and it is what it is. It's a submarine, and it takes you down below onto the seabed, right? And I remember going down there and being completely fascinated about what I saw on the seabed, because granted, it didn't take you like out, like far out. It takes you out far enough, but not like far out. And what I saw was like mountains and valleys and dips and peaks and troughs and all kinds of things. The seabed was not this flat level ground, right? And so in my mind, I was almost thinking that it semi would be, because, you know, when you go to the beach or what have you, it's like you're kind of expecting the rest of it to be like that, but just this whole gradual walk down into the sea, and it gets deeper and deeper gradually. And yeah, it's pretty level in my mind. I don't know if anybody else has ever thought about it, but in my mind, that's what I was thinking, right? Even though I've seen numerous programs of divers, and when they go down, and it's, you know, it's caverns and caves and all kinds of stuff, right? But I wasn't even imagining that. And so when I saw that, it fascinated me, because I was like, wow, this place underwater is exactly the same as it is above water, right? We have mountains, we have valleys, we have all of that. But I was not expecting that in the sea for whatever reason. But what I find fascinating about this story is that in Psalm 77, it says that God revealed to them a path that was hidden in the sea, a path that nobody knew about, right? So it wasn't like the path was just anywhere. God knew that there was a specific road that he had already carved out ahead of time, probably from the beginning of time. that he was going to cause the children of Israel to walk across. But ordinarily, this isn't something ordinary. This is something that he purposely did, because it doesn't happen like that under the sea. It's not like there's just this road from one side to the other. But in the case of this story, there was, because God knew. And God knew where to start from. He knew where it started and he knew where it was going, right? And so when the children of Israel were there and they were looking at the mountains, they were looking at the Red Sea in front of them, they were looking at the Egyptians coming after them, they couldn't see a way through. But God knew the road was there the whole time. And he couldn't have led them anywhere else, because the road wasn't anywhere else. The road was there. The road was there. And this is the thing, right? When I was thinking about it, there was millions of people there, right? Let's just say a million, maybe two. This is the thing. There were women, there were children, there were pregnant women, there were old people. I'm just hearing things around me, man. Squirrels and pigeons, and rats. Oh my golly. Let me get this story over and done with. So yeah, there was a lot of people, and they had their carts with them. Their carts were heavily laden because they'd just spoiled everything from the Egyptians. They'd taken everything from the Egyptians, right? And then they didn't even have the kind of tires that we have now. They had wooden tires with no suspension and what have you. And they had to wheel that stuff from the beach down into the sea, down onto this hidden road, across to the other side and out again, right? So you had to know that this road was some kind of a road. It wasn't just like a rocky pathway. God must have had this road so smooth that these people were able to go across it and go across it with ease. And so why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because it's like before when they didn't know the road was there, it looked like they were stuck. It looked like their situation was hopeless. It looked like they were surrounded, right? It looked like there was no way out. However, God knew where they were and how to get them across, because he had already planned it ahead of time. And so I'm sharing this because maybe, just maybe, you may be experiencing some things right now and you're like, God, what is this? Hello, I don't like this. It feels like a tight spot. It looks like a tight spot. It looks like there's no way out. But God knows the road, where he's got it, how to get you there, and how to get you across. And when you remember this, that our God, he knows all things, your heart doesn't need to get panicked or afraid about anything. So when you're there believing him for something, and it looks as though he's not paying you any mind or any attention, or it looks as though he's making the water hotter, or it looks as though he's got you between a rock and a hard place, remember, God knows where the hidden road is. And this is what he said to Moses. Why are you crying to me? What's in your hand? Use that. And so today the question is, what's in your hand? Because God already has prepared the road ahead of you. And it doesn't matter what it looks like. God's already figured this thing out. So ask him, Lord, you've already given me what it is that I need. Now show me how to use it. Because Moses already had the rod. He just didn't know where and how to use it. Anyhow, I've got to go now. Hope that blessed somebody.